Good afternoon. I'm Ebony Langford Brown, the Director of Academic Programs. I'm joined by my colleagues, Jeannie Franklin, Director of the Department of Consortia Choice and Application Services, and Angela McLean, Executive Director, Division of Teaching and Learning for this session on the proposed six-region model for academic programs. Next slide. As we get started, please let us know who's joining us by completing the short survey that you see on your screen. We have held time at the end of the presentation for questions. Please use the Q&A feature to capture your questions along the way. We will address as many questions as possible during the session and post responses to others on the Academic Program Analysis website. Translation is available. Please look for the globe on your device for access to the translation services. Next slide. During this session, we will explain the six-region model as well as why MCPS is proposing it. Development of the proposed model is an iterative process. We will share the updated and improved models that were shaped by feedback. We will also provide details about some of the programs to help clarify our current thinking and where we are headed. We will wrap up the session with responses to questions posed via the Q&A feature. I'll turn it over to Ms. Franklin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeannie Franklin, Director of Consortia Choice and Application Program Services. Thanks for joining. So let's do a little quiz. It won't be graded, but you'll get to see the answers at the end. Maybe on a piece of paper or on your phone, just write the numbers 1 through 6, and you will see the different numbers. On the right, you're going to see statements. And what we want you to do is match the statement with the number. So let's go with the first one. Number 1 is 27. Number 2 is 2027. Number 3 is 2000 plus. Number 4 is less than 10. Number 5 is 90. And number 6 is 35. The different statements you should try to match them to include A, the number of full-time 9th grade full-time programs. B, the number of high schools MCPS will have in 2 years. C, the number of grade 8 students in a wait pool or wait list for a regional countywide program. D, the number of Northeast and Down County Consortium grade 8 students that apply to the Poolsville Global Ecology Program in 2024. F, the percent of students attending their local high school. And E, the year the proposed regional model and new boundaries for 50 secondary schools will take place. Do your best guess, and then we'll check your answers, and you might hear some of the answers as we go. Can we go to the next slide? So why are we doing this? This is all about equity and opportunity. Currently, access to our criteria and interest-based programs are limited. We have 35 full-time programs, and yet we still have a number of students unable to access seats. We're really committed to increasing programs and seats and supports across every region, not just for some, but for all students. We want to ensure that all students have access to local and regional high interest and high impact options. We also believe that all of our local high schools should have strong academic programs, including their local pathways. And we also believe that students should have a range of opportunities regardless of where they live. So this is why this is such an important focus for our system. Next slide. So what evidence do we have? Well, here are just some pieces of evidence that has informed our work. Each year, there are about 2,000 or more students that are sitting on a wait list or a wait pool waiting for a seat in a regional countywide program. Some of our most sought after countywide high school programs are dominated by students in just 3 high schools. When assessing some of our long-standing programs and their transportation offerings, one program offers 24 buses and one offers none. There are 9 out of our 25 high schools that do not host a regional countywide program currently. These schools only send their students away from their school, and their families are wondering why their schools don't have a program. And some of our students have 3 opportunities to apply to an international baccalaureate program, where some have 1. So over the past 50 years, we have been implementing programs ad hoc with different motivations, different innovations, different incentives, all well-intended. But we're now at a point we have an opportunity to really create a process and a system where all of our students and our schools can offer opportunities. So this is a really great time for us to do this, and this is the evidence that helps support that effort. Next slide, please.
Thank you. While our presentation today focuses on regional programs, we know that 90% of our students choose to complete high school at their home school, not participate in regional programs. Ensuring that the academic program at every high school is strong is another essential part of our work. The program analysis design team, made up of community and family members, industry partners, and school-based staff, identified the critical components of strong instructional programming and student experiences that should be available in all of our high schools. That team recommended that all schools offer parallel advanced coursework, for example, ensuring calculus is available at every school. To support this vision, we are focused on ensuring students are well prepared for advanced courses through strong foundational instruction, providing a well-rounded course progression that allows students to explore their interests with both breadth and depth, expanding the use of distance learning to close access gaps across schools, and offering authentic research experience as a part of the student's academic development. The MCPS project team recommends that business, finance, and entrepreneurship pathways be offered at every school, given the strong student demand for these areas and for financial literacy. Next slide. The next portion of this presentation is to share with you the regional program themes that will be available to all students and which high schools we are proposing to host them. So let's start with the regional program themes. Next slide. These are our regional program themes. They were developed in collaboration with the design team who used information from over 10,000 individual feedback submissions from students, staff, parents, and community members. These are the program themes that all students should have access to. The first is medical science and healthcare. The second is science, technology, and engineering and math. The next is international baccalaureate, humanities and languages. The next is leadership and public service. And the last is visual and performing arts and design and communication. These themes may be divided among schools to build on existing school assets and better serve students. For example, international baccalaureate and humanities, each at a different school in the region, or music-related performing arts at one school and dance and theater at another. It is important to know all schools will also retain their strong local programs. While we are expanding regional options, we are not removing opportunities to our local high school programs. Next slide. Here's an updated map of the 6-region model, which includes Woodward and Crown high schools, which are scheduled to open in 2027. This regional model reflects the most recent change where Damascus and Quince Orchard High School switched regions. Damascus moved to Region 6 and Quince Orchard moved to Region 5. These adjustments were made due to boundary needs. As a result of this change, we need to do realignment of the regional programs for all the schools in those 2 regions. Next slide. A few things to know before we review the most recent program theme by schools and regions. Currently, there are 9 high schools that do not offer a regional countywide program. And why this is noted is because some schools only send students to regional programs and do not host any programs to receive students back. In the new regional model, each high school will offer a criteria-based program. Criteria-based means that students must meet certain standards or academic markers to be eligible for the pathway. Criteria-based Criteria are based on a variety of data points and will be explicitly identified for each pathway. All students who apply and meet the criteria will be eligible for the program and will be put in a lottery for selection. Interest-based programs are open to all students wanting to pursue the pathway. All students who submit an interest form will be placed into a lottery for selection. Another item to be aware of when we look at our regional programs is that middle college programs are being added to each region. We currently have 2 located at Northwood and Northwest, where both of these programs have large interest and long waitlists. I want to share how these programs were matched to schools. The first step was looking at the school assets, what they already had in terms of arts facilities, existing regional and countywide programs, existing career and technical programs, and less common languages that were being offered. What else informed the program matching process was through the use of feedback from the design and MCPS project teams, as well as feedback from our high school principals. So let's take a look at the regions. Ms. McLean?
Good afternoon. Thanks everyone for joining us. May I have the next slide, please? So you may be new to this topic, and this might be the first time you've seen some of the matches between schools and program themes. And if you've been following along, we've made some changes, and Ebony explained the process for making those changes. So I want to orient you to the Region 1 slide. You'll see the schools listed on the left. You'll see their current regional program strand or strands assigned. And the right column is really important as well. These are the local pathways, the local opportunities that are not going away with the addition of regional programs. So we've highlighted a few here, such as, let's see, Albert Einstein with the Visual and Performing Arts, International Baccalaureate, Academy of Finance. Those are local programs that will remain there. There's also an important link there. The link connects you to the MCPS program dashboard, which is the best way to see all of the local programs offered at the school. So when you access that link, and we'll share these slides on our website after the meeting, you choose programs and you choose your school, and you can see that all the full list of programs. So some things to point out on this slide. You see Bethesda Chevy Chase will be the International Baccalaureate Regional Program. Montgomery Blair has the Science, Technology, and Math, which includes the Science, Math, and Computer Science criteria-based program, and a to-be-determined technology pathway. So some of our program themes have multiple pathways so that you have a criteria and an interest-based access point. But we're still in the process. We're working with our schools to determine the best pathways for the technology interest-based pathways. So it could be engineering, programming, cybersecurity, machine learning, which is artificial intelligence, or it might be more than one, but that's a piece that we're still working on. So that's why you see technology really as a placeholder. In this region, you'll see the arts are divided. It made a lot of sense to build on the assets at both Einstein and Northwood High School to offer the Visual Arts Center in Design and Performing Arts music program at Albert Einstein, and then the dance and the theater and the technical theater at Northwood. You'll see that humanities is at Walt Whitman, and their existing leadership for social justice program, which is regional, will remain regional. And Northwood will be the regional site for the middle college and public service related program pathways. And those could be related to education, law and criminal justice is a possibility. So that's Region 1. May I have the next slide, please? So in Region 2, you'll see it looks a little different from Region 1. All of the arts are together at Blake High School, which has a lot of assets for offering this as offering the broad variety of the arts for a regional program, and also the addition of middle college. That would be the location for middle college. You'll see medical science and healthcare at Paint Branch, as well as leadership and public service. And you'll see both the STEM, the science, technology, math, at Springbrook, as well as the International Baccalaureate program, which is a regional program there now, and humanities and languages Sherwood. And when we have languages here, we're thinking about the less commonly taught languages that are more difficult, more challenging to offer in all schools. So we want to make sure that where we have them, we provide access to the region. Next slide, please. Okay, in Region 3, you'll see again that Woodward High School has the full suite of arts programs and is the proposed location for Middle College. You'll see International Baccalaureate at John F. Kennedy, which is a current regional program site, as well as Medical Science and Healthcare. Walter Johnson, you see the Humanities and Language combo in Leadership and Public Service. And then Wheaton High School, you're going to see the Science, Technology, Math program theme, and it's going to look a little bit different at Wheaton because you will have the science, math, and computer science criteria-based program, but also Wheaton has a strong tradition, a very strong engineering and biomedical science program that fits nicely under that STEM banner. So we kind of think of it as STEM-M, STEM plus medical. I do want to continue to point out the local pathways and invite you to take a look at those. Next slide, please. So this is Region 4, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Region 4 later on in the presentation, but you'll see that Richard Montgomery has the Regional International Baccalaureate. Right now it's countywide, and it will now serve Region 4, as well as some of the performing arts, dance, theater, technical theater. Rockville will be where your medical science and healthcare programs are, as well as leadership and public service, and the Middle College. And we'll talk more about that program later. Churchill, Winston Churchill, Humanities and Language, and then the Visual Arts and Design program. And then Wheaton will be the location of the Science, Math, Computer Science criteria-based program, the to-be-determined technology interest-based program, and the music performing arts. Next slide, please. Okay, in Region 5, this is one of the regions where more significant changes were made when we had to change the regions for Quince Orchard and Damascus High School, and then we had to reconsider based on the school assets and the input from our principals. And so it looks a little different. If you've seen this before, this one is particularly different. You see the medical science and healthcare and the dance program at Crown. Engineering and aviation at Magruder. It's kind of a different combo. We haven't seen it in the other regions exactly like this, but we have a regional aviation program at Magruder, which pairs nicely with engineering. You'll see the science, math, and the science, technology, and math at Gaithersburg, as well as the visual arts. Watkins Mill, which is a regional site, will be the region's International Baccalaureate site, as well as the new Middle College site. And Quince Orchard is humanities and language, as well as some of the other performing arts. And if you happen to see the board meeting on October 16th, you know there are some questions around Crown. And so if Crown were to become a holding center and not be part of Region 5, we would have to revisit this region. So there are possibilities of changes in Region 5. Next slide, please. Finally, Region 6. Another region where if you've seen this before, you can see that there are several changes because we brought Damascus into this region and did some changing of the programs by school. So you see Seneca Valley is still the International Baccalaureate Regional Program and will host some of the performing arts. Clarksburg is medical science and healthcare. Damascus has the music performing arts, as well as communication and leadership and public service. Poolesville maintains its science, technology, math program, which is the science, math, and computer science criteria-based program, as well as the existing humanities program. And their global ecology program is part of our leadership suite of pathways. Northwest has visual arts and design. It's your middle college site. And also at Northwest, there is an opportunity to earn engineering associate's degree as part of middle college, and we want to highlight that for the region as well. And so there's a quick overview. Thank you. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, it's still me, isn't it? All right, so what our great regional programs will have? You're going to hear a little bit more detail about a program in a little while, but just to give you an overview, that a program that's worth being regional, it's something that we can't offer at every school. First of all, that's an important piece, but we want to have in-depth coursework that's aligned with student interests, with clear and relevant connections to the program content, but also potential career interests and the future experiences of our students when they leave us and go to college and work. They'll have experiences that begin in grade 9. Some of our programs now begin in grade 11, and might be 2-year programs, but we want to engage students starting in grade 9 with cohorted classes and program-related experiences, so they know early, is this the right program for me? And if not, they can find, we can help them find a different program, but it's a chance to explore your interests and find out early. We'll have extended learning opportunities, work-based learning, co and extracurricular experiences. It might be, competitions, professional organizations, and there's opportunities to engage with professionals in related fields. Our programs offer industry certification. These are credentials that adults earn as well. So they're directly connected to the future of our students in those industries, but also third-party verification. So looking at AP scores, international baccalaureate tests, third parties. And we want to make sure that we're providing a learning community for our students. Our students have experiences in their classes and outside of the classroom together. So they build that community that we know is so important and is one of the reasons that so many of our programs are so popular. Next slide, please.
Thank you. So let's take a closer look at how this will look for a student. Next slide. As stated, Region 4 includes 4 high schools: Richard Montgomery, Rockville, Churchill, and Wooten. An 8th grade student in this region has many pathways to success. So let's talk about Anita. Anita is a rising 9th grade student whose home school is Churchill. In Region 4, she finds she has an abundance of choices, some at her home school and others within a reasonable distance. At Churchill, Anita has access to meaningful learning experiences, including dual enrollment, broadcast media, and computer science. She also has access to the school's local technology, engineering, and math signature program. Anita wants to be a doctor. She considers the signature program at her home school and the science, math, and computer science program at Wooten, especially for the access to higher level science classes. She would like to pursue science classes with a medical focus. Ultimately, she decides to apply to the medical science regional program at Rockville High School because she likes that it's both college and career prep focused. She has opportunities to take accelerated science courses and earn an industry recognized credential, and that she will have 2 classes with program students who have similar interests and goals. In a moment, we're going to share additional details about the program that Anita selected. Next slide, please. Family, students, staff, and school leaders have asked for more details about the program pathways at each school in each region. Staff in the Division of Teaching and Learning have been working collaboratively with school-based staff to develop comprehensive plans for each of these pathways. The plans for these pathways consist of 8 components. The first is a vision statement for each theme that outlines the focus and objective. The second are program goals for the theme with specific goals in 3 categories: 1, developing knowledge and skills; 2, providing hands-on real-world experiences; and 3, fostering college, career, and community pathways. Third, each plan identifies a pathway as criteria-based or interest-based, which we addressed earlier in the presentation. Next slide. The pathway frameworks also include the course sequence for the pathway. The team also outlined the list of co-curricular and extracurricular opportunities for students in the pathway, including things such as field trips, showcases, competitions, internships, and work-based learning opportunities. The plan also includes metrics that will be used to evaluate the success of the pathway, including academic measures, enrollment retention, and completion metrics, student and parent satisfaction surveys, and so on. The plans also have cost projections to include estimates for supplies, curriculum development, textbooks, field trips, fees, licenses, and other related costs. And there are also implementation plans for professional learning and curriculum development. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. McLean to talk more about the pathway that Anita chose. Next slide.
Sure. So we're going to highlight the medical science and healthcare pathway, which is to several of our schools, it'll be a new program, and pieces of it will certainly be new to all of the regions. So the vision of this program is to prepare students for careers in medicine and healthcare. So this is a program for our students who think they might want to be doctors or nurses or medical researchers, or medical technicians and clinical healthcare providers, because there's several options within the program. We will have curriculum that's equity driven and provides rigorous learning, but also provides students with those hands-on real world experiences that really bring this content to life for them. These are students who we know will positively impact the community, and we're excited to offer this program. Next slide, please. So our programs are structured around three main goals. We want to develop foundational knowledge and skills. We want to provide that hands-on real-world experience. And we want to foster the college and career community pathways. We're preparing students for both college and career. And so our pathways, that's why our pathways have things like industry recognized credentials and rigorous coursework that prepares you for post-secondary instruction. Next slide, please. So the medical science and healthcare pathway has two different pathways. One of them is the criteria-based pathway, where students will participate in higher level science. They will be cohorted for their science classes to start, because they don't start their biomedical content until grade 10. And they'll be together for their initial science courses, which will also be infused with program-related experiences. They'll continue to progress in their sciences. You can see biology to chemistry, physics, or IB biology. And in the case of this sample pathway, this particular school has an international baccalaureate program. So we have infused international baccalaureate courses into the pathway. If this program is offered at a school that is not an international baccalaureate school, you would see advanced placement science courses in the pathways. But the light blue represents the program pathway courses. You can follow that through. So by the second year, students are taking biomedical courses together, and by their fourth year, they're participating in work-based learning or dual enrollment. So it's important to think about, I want to go back to the first column here, grades 6 through 8. They're at the middle school level, we're doing a lot to prepare students for the opportunities that we're hoping to provide to them in the future. So in grade 8, students start working on their high school registration. They're participating in career advising and exploring, what their career personality is. Are they detail oriented? Are they leaders? And this is helping them make decisions around what they're going to apply for in terms of 8th grade, and what courses they want to take, whether it's at their home school or in a regional program. One thing I want to point out here is that these programs are not going to be developed in just 1 year. We'll be planning for the next year and a half, and they'll be rolled out one grade at a time. So we do have the opportunity to really ensure that our schools and our teachers are prepared and the resources are in place. So in grade 9, we'll roll out the cohorted biology and the cohorted engineering and technology class for these students. In grade 10, they'll be together in chemistry, and we'll roll out our new biomedical course. And you can see that each year we'll continue to add until at the end of the 5-year period is when we'll have the full program in place. Next slide, please. Okay, so here is the interest-based pathway. for the medical science and healthcare path program theme, excuse me. In this case, students would be cohorted in their science courses, and then they would take certified clinical medical assistant courses together. So they would, at the end of their time in those courses, have an opportunity to take an industry recognized credential exam and earn that credential. In some schools, you might see differences in this pathway. It might be certified nursing assistant, or it might be physical rehabilitation, pharmacy technician. All of these fields are those kind of hands-on, working directly, providing clinical care to the public. And all of them include an industry recognized certification and a work-based learning experience. This particular pathway, this interest-based pathway, does give some flexibility. You know, when you looked at the criteria-based pathway, you saw very specific science courses and levels. There's a little more flexibility with this course or with this pathway. You know, you can enter where you are in terms of your, you know, your math and your language and proceed from there. Next slide, please. So we know a program isn't just courses, that it's very important for our students to be connected with each other and to the content and to their, you know, with their teachers and with professionals in the field. And so all of our programs will include additional opportunities. So there'll be opportunities to gain hands-on experience, professional credentials, internships, clinicals with partners such as Holy Cross Hospital, National Institute of Health, University of Maryland. Students will have opportunities to earn industry recognized credentials such as the biotechnician assistant credentialing exam or the clinical medical assistant certification in the example that we showed you. There's opportunities to earn college credit. If it's an IB school, there's potential to earn an IB career program certificate. But these are experiences, competitions, student organizations such as HOSA for our folks interested in medical careers. But these experiences build community and prepare students for success in both college and those health and medical related fields. Next slide, please. So what you see here is the working draft of the metrics that would be used to evaluate this program. In all of our programs, we're thinking very carefully about how we will evaluate in terms of while we're implementing it, so we can make sure that you know, we can kind of correct and make it as successful as possible along the way, you know, after year 1, 2, 3, 4, but also ongoing. So in this case, you see we'll look at enrollment and retention of the kids who stay in the program and finish it. The achievement of industry recognized credentials, because that is a third-party validation for us. It tells us, have the kids learned the content and skills required for that field? Are students completing the program? How are they doing on the related assessments, like if there's a required advanced placement course, how are they doing on those assessments? And we also want to look at satisfaction. You know, we'll have student surveys and family surveys throughout the implementation of the program, but ongoing afterwards. Next slide, please.
So we have more descriptions of the program pathways for Region 4. And if you're interested in those, you can use the QR code to access them. Each of those descriptions will include the vision statement, pathway goals, their criteria and interest-based designation, the course sequence, the co-curricular and extracurricular opportunities, as well as the evaluation metrics. Next slide, please. So here's a visual to help you follow along with what's happening in the timeline. On the left, you will find the class of students, and you will follow it along the timeline using the school years at the top. So let's start with our current 8th grade students. You will see they are the class of 2030. This class will remain in the current process and graduate from high school in 2030. Let's look at the current 7th grade students, the class of 2031. This class will be the first impacted by the new regional model. So families of grade 8 students in 26-27 will receive information about their local high school and regional programs available to them when they enter high school in 27-28. They will be the first group of students in the new model, as indicated by the orange shade. And you will see in the same year that there will be grade 10, 11, and 12 students who are finishing up their high school plan in the current model. To honor our current high school students, if a student was assigned to a consortium high school, the Down County Consortium, including Blair, Kennedy, Wheaton, Einstein, and Northwood, or the Northeast Consortium, including Blake, Paint Branch, or Springbrook, those students will remain in their assigned school to graduate. Another group that will be able to remain in their assigned school are students who are invited and attend a centrally managed regional or countywide program. These are programs available on the high school common application. This chart shows that beginning in 27, there will be 3 years of transition where the current model is phased out and the new model is phased in. Okay, so next slide, please. So let's shift to some frequently asked questions. The first is, will local schools continue to offer local pathways if they implement a regional model? And the answer is yes, they will continue to offer those pathways. The next question is, does my student have to apply to a regional program? No, students can apply to a program if they're interested in pursuing that program. Otherwise, they can remain in their home school. The next one is Rising Grade 9, the only entry point for the regional programs. There will be additional on-ramps to enter the program beyond grade 9. The next is, will aviation at Magruder be available in a regional model? And the answer is yes, the aviation program will be available. And the last question, will the countywide programs remain? And countywide programs will become regional programs. Next slide. We have some questions specific to the Down County Consortium and the Northeast Consortium. Well, the first is, will my student go through the DCC NEC choice process? And again, with our students who are currently grade 7, they will transition to the regional model and be assigned to a homeschool. Next, what happens to existing local signature and academy programs? Those local programs will remain at the schools in those regions. The next is the regional program model a criteria process, a choice process, like the Down County or Northeast Consortium? And no, the regional model is not a choice process. Students will be expected to attend their home school and have the option to apply to regional programs. The next question, can students apply to a regional program after starting high school? And again, there will be on-ramps for participating in those programs beyond grade 9. And will the DCC and NEC discontinue? And yes, they will be part of the regional model. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, please. So this is just the timeline for moving forward. We will continue our community engagement and continued internal engagement as we finalize or bring the final proposal to the Board of Education. And we will have that work ready for them in November. In March, the board will vote on the proposed recommendations for both the boundary study as well as the proposed model. And then in the fall of 2026, we will start the outreach for those classes, and particularly for those students who will be a part of the new boundaries or a part of the changes in the regional model. Next slide, please. So before we go to our questions and responses for those, I'd like to go over the answers to the by the numbers shared at the beginning. The number of full-time ninth grade programs, the number of full-time ninth grade full-time programs is 35. The number of high schools MCPS will have in 2 years is 27. The number of grade 8 students in the wait pool or wait list for a regional or countywide program is 2,000 plus. The number of Northeast and Down County Consortium grade 8 students that applied to the Poolsville Global Ecology Program in 2024 is 10. The percent of students attending their local high schools is 90. And the year the proposed regional model and new boundaries for 50 secondary schools will take place is 2027. Next slide, please. So thank you to those who added questions to the FAQ. We have over 100 at this point, and there are some themes and there's some that are pretty complex. So we will spend the next 10 to 15 minutes or so responding to as many of them as possible. Okay.
So I have a few that I see that I can answer. So one of the first questions that I see is, are we going to make the slide deck available? And yes, the answer is we'll make the slide deck available. It will be available on the program analysis website. We will get that posted for you, ideally by the end of the week. I have another question. With Crown High School being considered for holding school instead of opening, how does that impact the 6 region model offerings? So Crown, in the region that it's in, should it become a holding school, what will happen is we will realign the programs designated for Crown and to the other schools in the region. That might mean there might be some slight adjustments, but we are committed to all of the programs will be available to all the students in the different regions.
I have a question to answer. There's a question about existing criteria-based regional programs. So the Science, Math, and Computer Science program, it's now at Blair and Poolsville High School, and the Global Ecology program at Poolsville. And there was a concern that those programs don't align with the themes, and a question of whether or not they would continue. And they are absolutely going to continue. You know, the theme of science, technology, engineering, math is very broad. The criteria-based program for that theme is the Science, Math, and Computer Science program that we're familiar with. We're working with folks who teach in the program. We're working with our program supervisors to expand access to that program in the 6 regions model. And, you know, we spent a lot of time talking to folks in the Global Ecology program who lead the Global Ecology program as well. And we think it fits really well with our leadership theme. But regardless, our successful, strong programs will remain. And what we're doing is expanding access to them.
There's a question about what's the justification for placing both IB and humanities programs at BCC. It's a good question. So one of the ways we went to approach this work is we first looked at the school assets. And then after we looked at the assets, we also received feedback from the community and also the principals. One of the interesting pieces of about Region 1 is that all of the 5 schools have a regional program with exception for BCC. So what was important is to look at what interesting, significant program can be at each one of our schools. And since BCC didn't have an existing regional countywide program, we wanted to build on its asset. And the asset was the International Baccalaureate program. And the humanities also landed there because we wanted to make sure we had a good balance of varying programs in all areas of that region. Now, we just completed our phase 2 of this work. And we're going to be going out to the community and continuing to work with our schools to get additional information about program placement, the admission process, the outreach process, the actual program implementation. And there will likely be some additional adjustments that go forward. But hopefully that helps answer that question.
So I see several questions around transportation. And you know, One of the things about the 6-region model where we're grouping 4 or 5 schools and we're saying within that region, you will have access to the same suite of programs, parallel programs as any other region. So the transportation is now taking place just in that region. And what that allows us to do is provide transportation for each program, which is something we have not been able to do before. And we also are in a situation right now where we couldn't expand it. So we don't know exactly what it looks like yet, but it does allow us to say this proposal will guarantee transportation to these regional programs.
There's a question about who's on our design team, and our design team is made up of around 70 school and community members who are all providing feedback to inform this work. So the design team may be PTA presidents or NAACP chapter members or school advocates and school staff. A variety of different people are serving on the design team.
There's a question about the effect of this on elementary language immersion. And we haven't talked about that as part of the 6 regions model. It will not have an impact on elementary language immersion. And we are asking our folks to take a look at that progression so that we can publicize what's the best next step for students who are in the elementary language immersion programs, but they do remain.
There's a question and a couple of questions about what's happening in the middle schools. As the program analysis work is designed to support all secondary programs, and we've spent a lot of time working with the high schools because we really want to get this right. So at this time, there's not any new information about middle school programming. There was a little information shared at the board table on October 16th that there will be some modifications, but we don't anticipate that there are going to be major changes to any of the programmatic pieces that are in our buildings right now. So as soon as that information is available, we'll make that available to our families.
There's a question that says that with a statement that says it seems like the programs are lottery based. And we do want to make sure that we're clear that every school has a criteria-based program. And so a criteria-based program has requirements, prerequisites, or a particular academic threshold. And so each and every school will have that. Most schools will also have an interest-based or I get lottery-based program as well. And the combination provides more opportunities for students. For example, if you pair the science, math, and computer science, what we often think of as a magnet program, a criteria-based program, and then you have an interest-based, let's say, engineering program at the same school, you have 2 ways to get into that science, math, tech type of programming. One of them is what we think of as a science, math, and computer science program, which is so well regarded nationally. And we want to, continue to offer that and expand access to that. But it's not just lottery. There is a combination at every school.
There's a couple of questions about seats that I wanted to try to tackle. One question says on October 16th, you said only 15 students per year would get into theater programs. How is that abundance? That's a good question. So when we propose our seats, we're proposing a minimum. Because this is the first year and the first model of this kind, we wanted to approach it conservatively. And so although we know we have over 3,000 students that apply to programs annually in our current model, we anticipate it's going to increase because there's going to be transportation for students to all of the programs in the region. So as a result, we wanted to make sure that we approached it with a minimum number of students. So 15 students for a theater program does sound small. And what we anticipate is, should there be continued space, because a commitment of this work is not to overutilize the buildings. So we have this big boundary study with 50 middle and high schools underway, and a commitment is to ensure we're not overutilizing the buildings. So because we're learning so much information, but we also have good information to build from, we're starting conservatively. However, if we have space, our intention is to move more students into the programs. An additional follow-up question to that is the notion of local seats. So one of the models we do have in MCPS is we have local set-aside seats for students in criteria-based programs. We also have them in our interest-based programs. Some have a fixed number, some are unlimited. An example, the middle college program at both Northwood and Northwest High School have 30 out-of-area seats for students to get lotteried into from out of area. But it is unlimited for students within the school to take advantage of middle college. So that's a model that we'd like to build upon where we can. In some models, we are unable to have unlimited seats because of the resources that are attached to each of the different programs. So we're working with our program coordinators for each of the pathways to determine what is reasonable. However, we do anticipate there will be local set-aside seats for our programs because we believe that students at the school should also have access to the program, and we want to foster a one school community model with having some of these seats available for our local students.
So there are a couple of questions related to dual enrollment. What is middle college, and will dual enrollment be available at all schools? So dual enrollment is the opportunity to take a course with Montgomery College, our partner, in dual enrollment and earn both high school and college credit. And that opportunity is available at all high schools and will continue to be. There's a program called Jumpstart, and students can work with their dual enrollment coordinator at their school and register for select courses and take them no matter what school you're at. Middle college is a program where you are on a degree path, a pathway to an associate's degree. It might be thematic. You might be taking more general studies courses. They might be more engineering focused, or earning an associate's in teaching. So that's the opportunity that would be regional. So all students have access locally. Middle college provides that degree access regionally.
There's a question that talks about, that mentions that the program themes don't align with some of the strong programs that already exist. For example, the science, math, computer science, and global ecology programs are not listed as proposed regional programs. On the contrary, they are. But what you do see are the regional program themes are big theme areas. And then when you look at the different regions with the high schools and the actual potential names of our programs, that's where we have them listed. So we don't list science, math, computer science as a program theme. It is a pathway that's going to be available to students. So those are available. And we agree, some of our more premier programs, longstanding programs that have had tremendous success, we definitely want to keep them. On a similar note on that question, there's a question about, we see that global ecology is listed just in the region with Poolsville in that region, while other students have access to that. In this new model, we use the program themes to identify what programs all students should have access to. However, they might not be identical. They might be comparable, but not identical. So the global ecology program at Poolsville is identified as a leadership program. The leadership program in another region, such as Region 1 with Whitman High School, they have the leadership and social justice. They're both leadership programs. We're ensuring that students in all of our regions will have access to leadership, but they actually might be different pathways.
I do want to acknowledge there are a lot of questions about access to engineering, which makes me happy because that used to be one of my programs. And, because we have the technology TBD for the interest-based pathways and the schools identified for the STEM theme, that is really great feedback that we're going to take back to the program design team, the folks who are working with the leaders and teachers in schools and in existing programs to develop those plans. We shared the medical science one with you, but we're saving these questions, and that's good information for us to bring back the interest in engineering. So we want to thank you for that.
There's a question about the number of seats available for IB students and how we mentioned that there are over 2,000 students still sitting on a wait pool or wait list. So those 2,000 students are individual students. They're not replicated or duplicated in other programs. We wanted to know the number of singleton students that were sitting on a wait list or a wait pool. So our interest-based programs, you only have to be a Montgomery County student and age and grade eligible to enter the lottery for an interest-based program. And then what happens is when you have more requests than seats available, we invite the number of students into a program, and then we assign a waitlist number, 1 to 300, however are remaining on the waitlist. And then some of our students get invited to multiple programs, but they can only accept one. So that's why we know that some students will be invited off of the wait list and wait pools, but at the end of each year, we still have roughly 2,000 students who still remain because students apply to multiple programs. So what we wanted to mention is that when students apply for an interest-based program, they will have the opportunity to, if invited, to accept or decline. Same with the criteria-based program. You can accept or decline, but you can only accept one program at that time.
Thank you. We have about 4 minutes left, and there are a few things that I wanted to share before we end today. We had, like I said, over 100 questions, and we will gather those questions and try to answer the ones that we couldn't get to today. Some of them are very complex. If you could put the slides back up. Also, we would like to get more feedback from the group, and we will like you to complete a survey for us that gives us more information as well. So, if you would, actually, let's stop here. There were several questions about the resources, including the slides from today, and Q&A. And on the screen now, you do see that there are QR codes for the resources, and you can access those there. If you would take a few minutes before we leave to provide feedback via the QR code that's on the screen now. We will be hosting regional in-person meetings starting October 30th through November 21st. Our communications team will send dates and locations for each of those regional meetings in the upcoming days. And we hope to see you there if you have additional questions or would like to hear more as we continue to update our proposals and thinking. And with that, I'd like to say have a wonderful afternoon. And thank you for joining us.